Chicago, New York. Their baseball teams infamous for different reasons. The Cubs for the longest championship drought. The Yankees for the most titles in all of sports. Baseball legend occurred in 1932 with the Babes called shot at Wrigley Field. These two storied franchises meet this weekend for only the fourth time in history and the first time in New York since 1938. That's 67 years ago if you're counting at home. The Chicago guy pointing to his chest. The Yankee guy saying, we're hot right now. What a great matchup today on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week. The Chicago Cubs and the New York Yankees from the Bronx. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck, Tim McCarver in just a second. A week ago, the Yankees were wrapping up a 3-9 road trip, and everybody was wondering how far the Yankees would fall. People were wondering if Joe Torre would keep his job. Well, look what's happened on this little homestand run. 4-0. And Tim McCarver, when you think about how they've done it with one main guy in their lineup, and that's Hideki Matsui.
Certainly this week that's been the case. It's been a topsy-turvy season for the Yankees. More topsy than turvy this week, and it started out so dismally last Sunday in St. Louis. Matsui slipping and sliding. The Yankees thought that he would be out for some time, spraining his left ankle, but not so on Tuesday night. A huge home run against the Pittsburgh Pirates. The same thing against Oliver Perez on Thursday night against Pittsburgh. And then last night, a big home run against the Chicago Cubs.
Let's talk about the other side of this matchup, and that's the Chicago Cubs. Dusty Baker's actually pretty pleased with where the Cubs are right now. They may be 7.5 games out in the division, but they're treading water. They're going to get Wood and Pryor back shortly, and the guy that they've been thrilled about all year long is Derek Lee.
I think you could safely say that what Matsui has done for a week, Derek Lee's done all season long for the Chicago Cubs. He is a legitimate contender for the first Triple Crown since 1967.
Does it have a nice ring to it? Yes, it does. Cubs and Yankees, Fox Saturday Baseball. Let's go. I'll admit it right now. I had this game circled on the calendar when it came out, as I couldn't wait to see the Cubs come to Yankee Stadium to play the Yankees.
Me too.
Doesn't make me a bad guy.
No, nope.
So here we are, packed house. And here's a look at the Cubs lineup. It's brought to you by Taco Bell. Neifi Perez leads it off. He's the shortstop. Patterson bats second and center. Derek Lee, what a year. You see what he's doing down at the bottom of your screen. He's at first. Jeremy Burnitz is in right. Ramos Ramirez at third. Todd Walker is at second. Michael Barrett is the catcher. And Todd Hollandsworth is in left with Jason Dubois, the DH, batting in the number 9 spot. And that lineup will be dealing with the right-hander, Chien-Ming Wang. And there are the statistics. He's pitching with 8 days of rest after a rough one 2 Fridays ago in St. Louis. Hey, kids. Bottom of the first inning. And here's the lineup for the New York Yankees. Drum roll, please. Music. Derek Jeter will lead it off. He's the shortstop. Tony Womack in left. This is brought to you by Taco Bell. Gary Sheffield in right. A-Rod is cleaning up. Matsui is the DH. Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, and Robinson Cano is the second baseman batting ninth. No, Gary Sheffield is not going to the Cubs. That was a hot rumor last week. First pitch is a strike. Glendon Rusch has been unbelievable. 8 starts, 5-2 record, an ERA of 2.5. And really, since he's put on a Cub uniform, he's been fantastic. And I know you liked the way Dusty Baker described the difference between now and then with Glendon Rusch.
Oh, I loved it. He said he's pitching like a left-hander now and not a right-hander. Left-handers have more natural movement than right-handers, and sometimes a guy like Glendon Rusch is too impressed with the guys around him. When he was with the New York Mets, he used to try to ride the ball in on Al Leiter, But in order to do that, you have to have a heavier, harder fastball. You have to deal with what you have. He doesn't have the type fastball to do that, so he's staying away much more now.
He misses down and in, and the count evens 2 balls, 2 strikes. Glendon Rusch in his career against the Yankees, 0-6 with an ERA over 7, and he gets a strikeout of Jeter to start his day. Larry Rothschild is the pitching coach for Dusty Baker, and here are Larry's thoughts on what they see when Glendon is working well.
I think you'll see him moving the ball in and out and changing speeds effectively and really into the strike zone early in a game. And he's going to stay on the hitters aggressively, and I think that's his reputation. It's just like any other pitcher. You're throwing 2 and 3 pitches for strikes right away, hitting spots with the fastball, and you know that's what just about everybody does when they're going good.
There's a lot in that comment. That's what a lot of guys do when they're going good or well, is hit spots with the fastball.
Womack, the disgruntled Tony Womack, who's not thrilled that he's playing the outfield these days, signed here to be a second baseman. He's taken over left field when the Yankees brought up Robinson Cano. And to Tony's credit, he's not been all that outspoken about it, but it's bubbling underneath. As at this stage in his career, he's trying to learn a new position in the big leagues and trying to do it here at Yankee Stadium, all the while trying to hit and contribute and get on base, and lately that's been tough to do. He's hitting only .244. That's up the middle. Tough play for Perez. Womack can run, but he's out. 2 down.
After being released last August by the San Francisco Giants, Neifi Perez has been a godsend to the Cubs. This ball stays down. No, it did come up. But Perez, nonetheless, a very, very good play.
Take a look at the defense. Show you how State Farm covers the field and how the Cubs line up defensively. An outfield of Hollinsworth, Patterson, and Burnitz left to right. Ramirez, Perez, Walker, and Lee, with Michael Barrett, an improving catcher, and a guy who really has done well since the Cubs got him. Montreal Expos, where they were ping-ponging him back and forth between third and catcher. He's behind the plate, and Sheffield is granted time awfully late. A strikeout of Jeter. Womack grounded out. And now an 0-1 to Sheffield, misses. Glendon Rusch, before he got to the Cubs, had a winning percentage of .356 and a career ERA of 5.11. Since he's come to the Cubs, he's won 11 of 15 decisions with an ERA just over 3 at 3.16. He was 1-2 with Milwaukee in 2003, signed by Texas, cut loose in spring training prior to last year. The Cubs signed him late. And you have to ask the question, where would Dusty Baker's team be without somebody like Glendon Rusch, who's a good utility pitcher, meaning he can set up relieve, he can long relieve, he can spot start. He's gotten a lot of big outs while filling the role that was set out there for Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor, who have both been on the disabled list before joining the Cubs. After joining Chicago, that 11-4 record. A 3-2 to Sheffield is hammered into left center field. Patterson kicks it in left center. Sheffield is going to cruise into second base. And we'll see what they call it. Probably a double. But had Patterson come up with that cleanly in left center, he may have held Sheffield to a 2-out single.
Or Sheffield just hammering that high fastball. He is one of the few in the big leagues who can do that. I think this is a double. I think had Patterson come up with the ball, it's going to be a very, very tough play.
Well, sir,
wrong.
It's a single E8.
Okay.
And we thank Willie Mays for being the official scorer for today's game at Yankee Stadium. With 2 out, here is Alex Rodriguez.
That's the one thing you don't see. You saw that graphic earlier that the Cubs have allowed 16 unearned runs. That's second best in the major leagues. The Yankees are second worst in the major leagues. They've allowed 40 unearned runs.
And the Yankees have been awful in this position. 2 out and a runner in scoring position. They have 2 out, and they have that man Sheffield in scoring position here in the first. A single, an error, and Alex Rodriguez, having a monster year, at least a monster first half, is up on the count 2-1. He's number 3 in the AL in average, number 1 in home runs, number 1 in RBIs. Two balls and a strike. Off the hands, right center field, falling in a hurry, base hit. It gets behind Patterson. Either way, Sheffield was going to score, and it's 1-0 New York. RBI number 59 for Alex Rodriguez.
Rusch tries to jam Rodriguez, and Patterson, because he's respecting A-Rod's power to right center field, can't come up with it. It skips by him, but not far enough to allow Rodriguez to go to second base.
Got Patterson talking to himself out in center field as the inning continues. A hit, an error, a flare hit. And the Yankees, riding a 4-game winning streak, have their hottest hitter at the plate, Hideki Matsui. The home runs have come in bunches, at least during the week. He had a big night last night in the Yankees' 9-6 win in Game 1 of this series. He drove in 5. And during the homestand, we'll show you the numbers that he's put together, all while playing with a twisted right ankle. We won't get the chance as Derek Lee makes a good play to his right to end the inning. The Yankees score first, a 2-out rally, an error mixed in, and after 1 at Yankee Stadium, New York on top, 1-0. Threatening clouds overhead, but we'll be fine. Don't you worry. Bottom of the 4th inning. Glendon Rusch back to work. He is doing his part, but his hitters haven't figured out the Yankee right-hander. 1-0 New York, and A-Rod, who has the only RBI of the day, leads off. After taking a while to settle in last year in his new digs at Yankee Stadium and in the pinstripes, the home cooking has been good for Rodriguez so far this season. 12 of his 19 home runs have happened here at home. And he's slugging .774 here at Yankee Stadium.
He's got an unusual stance, too. He goes from holding the bat flatly to holding it upright. Very few power hitters hold the bat flatly when a pitcher delivers the ball.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Rodriguez, with Matsui and Posada to follow.
Flat, upright.
And a ground ball to short for Neifi Perez. Takes his time and gets his man, 1 out. So with 1 down, Hideki Matsui, who is the DH today, will step to the plate. Matsui turning that right ankle last Sunday, and I know it's been talked about, at least for the fans here in New York. Joe Torre's thoughts on Matsui and that ankle injury, but it has seemed to help his power stroke a little bit. He has been popping home runs and getting big hits for the Yankees in this homestand.
He has been forced to stay back on that back leg. He can't lunge. Lunging's one of the worst things you could do as a hitter, bringing the weight forward too early. The 2 main components of hitting is waiting and having quick hands. That's what Matsui's done for the last week, because when he gets out front, his ankle hurts. Gingerly striding.
1 ball, 2 strikes. That fastball is high. 91 from Rusch. 2-2.
Don Mattingly, the hitting instructor, telling Matsui kiddingly that if you start lunging, I'm gonna whack you on the right ankle again. Make sure you remember. Stay back.
Here's a 2-2 pitch with 1 out. Matsui rips one into the right field corner, and Hideki Matsui, bad ankle and all, will make it to second easily with 1 out here in the 4th. No word as to whether the Yankees have seriously thought about turning the ankle of Giambi. Oh, that's too easy. That's weak. Giambi's actually been hitting the ball better as Matsui gingerly steps it down and rips it into right.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to wait on the curveball. Wait till the ball gets to you, and he waited on the curveball from Rusch. A pretty good pitch from Glendon. Nails it to right field.
So a 1-out double, and Jorge Posada, the switch hitting catcher, digs in and rips it into right center field. That's going to add to the Yankee lead. Posada and Matsui trade places. 2-0 New York in the 4th. And Posada drives in the guy who's been in the middle of all the action for the Yankees, Matsui.
Nothing ginger about that swing from Jorge Posada. 2 straight doubles on 2 straight pitches. And the Yankees extend their lead.
He can hit, can he?
He can. Yep.
Matsui scoring easily for a guy with a bad ankle, and Posada came in hitting just under .350 since the 9th of May. Today he's 1 for 2, and it's 2-0 New York in the 4th as Bernie Williams digs in.
Joe, we've talked about Mariano Rivera being the most important Yankee since their run back in 1996. A very close second has been Jorge Posada, a guy that the Yankees cannot do without.
That drops in for a strike on Williams. Well, you remember back in '96, Girardi was the main guy. Zimmer was a big part of bringing Girardi to the Yankees. Zimmer had him with Chicago, and he had him with Colorado. And Girardi really took Posada under his wing and taught him a lot about catching at this level. Now Girardi is back after spending last year injured with the Cardinals. He's the bench coach for Joe Torre, and some say when Joe Torre hangs it up, Girardi is the guy being groomed to take over.
Yeah, Joe calls him my contemporary Don Zimmer. Don Zimmer, of course, the manager of the Chicago Cubs back in 1989 when they won the division, lost to the Giants, and then the Giants and the A's played in the Earthquake Series in the Bay Area.
See Bernie Williams try to turn on that pitch, pulled it foul. 2-2. I would say Zimmer's better looking than Girardi, but that's me. Zimmer just had that lovable look sitting there next to Joe Torre with that smile on his face, or something bad would happen. His face would change. That's a foul ball. No chance to get an out if it stayed fair. Still 2-2. I think a guy that had a lot to do with Joe Torre's comfort level here in New York. Joe used to bounce so many things off Don Zimmer, and when the two signed off on it, it was done.
I think in order to do that, you have to have no fear of rejection. If you make a comment, you're feeding Joe Girardi, for instance, feeding Joe Torre all the time. And if Joe elects not to use you, don't feel bad about it. I mean, we'll eventually make the right move or not make the right move. It's my job to make the decision. And Torre pretty upfront about that.
If you remember, as do a lot of fans in Chicago, when Don Zimmer was manager of the Cubs, he would throw the book right out the window. He'd try things that other managers wouldn't even dream of trying.
Who was his catcher? Joe Girardi.
Williams strikes out. 2 out in the inning as Glendon Rusch picks up his 3rd strikeout today.
Excellent curveball out of the strike zone to a free swinging Williams.
Grants today are made in honor. What a play by Lee. Down the line to take an extra base hit and a run away from the Yankees. You saw the faces of the 2 winners. Diamondbacks outfielder Sean Green, American League winner Torrey Hunter. And here's a Gold Glove play from a Gold Glover down the line to his left. He can do it all. Derek Lee, 2-0 New York. Longest droughts. Last championship for the Cubs, 1908. The AL, the White Sox, 1917. White Sox, you have to go back to 59, the last time they were in the World Series. Joe Torre had a second to talk with us between the top and bottom of the last inning. Well, I know you were coming off a 3-9 road trip when last we talked while you were in St. Louis. Joe, I think it's fair to say you look a little more relaxed down in the dugout today. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure you can say relaxed. I don't think you can do that here, but I'm certainly a lot more comfortable with the way we're playing, the way we're pitching, and the way we're fighting back. I think the middle game against Pittsburgh and last night's game were a good example of it.
Matsui's been such a big part of it. Posada's a guy that we were just talking about, maybe your perspective on a guy that maybe gets taken for granted for the job he does swinging the bat. He's easy to overlook for some reason, but man, he is a terrific hitter for you.
Posada, yeah, he's really, you know, being a switch hitting catcher, it's very unique. And the thing that's good about Georgie is the fact that, you know, he's pretty durable, and the fact that when the game's on the line, he has a real good at bat.
Chien-Ming Wang, the right-hander, you talked about sneaky fast, good movement, and so far he has come as advertised.
Yeah, you know, the only thing is I don't think he's as comfortable with his off-speed stuff as he is with his fastball, but his movement and his placement on the fastball has really been a difference. And as you mentioned, he really has late giddy-up on that on the fastball. You can get it in on both left-handers and right-handers.
Hey, Joe, again, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Joe.
That is very telling, that late giddy-up. That's one of the reasons that the Cubs can't center the ball. They can't center his fastball. Almost on cue, Todd Hollandsworth hits one off the end of the bat, breaks his bat. They've had similar at bats. The 2 by Todd Walker, a lot of ground balls. Only 1 out in the outfield this afternoon. That was in the 2nd inning, a fly ball by Todd Walker.
Runner at first after the walk to Barrett. 2 out. The crowd starts to get behind Wang with 2 strikes on the hitter Hollandsworth. And he's gone. Wang has been fantastic. 3 strikeouts. He's allowed 3 singles. He's walked only 1. Halfway through it, bottom of the 5th inning, Yankee Stadium. 2-0 New York. Off we go into the bottom of the 5th. It's Robinson Cano, the number 9 hitter, Derek Jeter, and Tony Womack. Against Glendon Rusch, who is pitching well, but not as well as Chien-Ming Wang. Base hit to start the inning, and Hollandsworth over to play it and hold Cano to a single. Dusty Baker joined us moments ago, and here's our little chat before the bottom of this 5th. Dusty Baker, thanks for joining us. Let's talk about this game. You're getting typical work from Glendon Rusch. He has really been fantastic, but it looks like your guys are trying to figure out this right-hander Chien-Ming Wang.
Yeah, well, that's true. First time we've seen him, looks like he has a very good sinker. Every time we get a guy on base, he throws a sinker and it's turned into a double play. So we just got to make him get the ball up and, you know, try to keep the ball off the ground, those double play situations.
Let's talk about the big picture real quick, and then we'll let you go, and that's about your team. Here you are, a few games over 500. You're starting to look into the future and see guys coming back. I think overall you would have to feel pretty good about where you're sitting right now.
Well, we do. I mean, you know, we'd feel better if we were sitting a little better, but, you know, we're about to get Kerry Wood back, hopefully in the next 10 days or 2 weeks. Hope to get back, you know, Mark Pryor, which will really help our team, help our starting staff, and help our bullpen, because these guys are known to go deep in the game. So, you know, we can just, you know, get a few victories here and there, you know, in between, and just play better baseball. You know, we got a great shot at this thing.
Johnny B. Baker, thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome.
So again, the story with Wood. Another rehab start tomorrow in Iowa for the Cubs. And then prior through a simulated game, 4 innings yesterday, felt pretty good. Started to run out of gas at the end of the 4 innings, but they are, Tim, quietly, and I mean quietly, optimistic about his return, coming back way ahead of the schedule that some people dreamed up. Not the Cubs. I think they were trying to be very quiet about the fact that the injury wasn't as bad as they initially thought. He's not that far away.
Right on top of the right elbow. And Dusty telling us before the game how fortunate the Cubs and Mark Pryor were that he didn't shatter that thing. A frightening scene against Colorado.
There's a strike to Jeter, and now 1 ball, 2 strike count. Wild card standings, if you want to look at it, only 2.5 games behind the Phillies are the Cubs right now. The 2 power right-handers, Tim, are not the only power right-handers to talk about on their way back. Curt Schilling threw yesterday for the Red Sox and threw without pain in that surgically repaired right ankle. That's a team, Boston, that's only 2 out in the AL East without him. And he hopes to come back before the All-Star break. Jeter is jammed. He flies it to center. 1 on, 1 out. Here are all the Cub injuries, at least the major ones that have hit them in 2005. April 20th, down goes Garciaparra. Torn groin. Played only 14 games, hit $150. 5 starts for Kerry Wood, an ERA over 6. And then the injury with Pryor being hit at the end of May. Pitched well after starting the season on the DL. He's there in the dugout with his arms crossed next to Maddox as the first pitch is a strike to Tony Womack from Glendon Rusch. There's Zambrano, who pitched last night. Dusty Baker talked to him about his pitching approach after last night's game. He was bringing it, throwing in the upper 90s, and was blowing it by hitters, but then started to mix in breaking balls and started to change it up. Got a little too cute. According to Dusty Baker, that might have been what cost him against the Yankees last evening. There's a strike, and it's 1-2 on Womack.
Yeah, Dusty saying that he told Zambrano that, you know, remember last year's All-Star game? Just blowing the ball by Alex Rodriguez. You threw him the slider, he hit it to right center field. He said, well, last night you threw the slider, RBI single up the middle.
Infield hit for Womack. And it's 2 on with 1 out here in the 5th.
Tony Womack is the type hitter where, from a hitting instructor standpoint, you almost tell him, don't put good wood on the ball. You know, if you do, and I'm saying that kind of in jest, but kind of truthfully. Because when he puts good wood on the ball, he hits the long fly balls. He doesn't have the power to hit it out of the ballpark. But those types of hits are the type that help the ball club and him maintain his job.
Now the dangerous Sheffield, who lines one into center field. Patterson will come up throwing. To the plate is Cano. Throw cut off, and it's 3-0 Yankees in the 5th. Cano, who started this inning with a hit, scores.
Excuse me, Joe. Now that's good wood on the ball. Think of the Womack hit, and then a laser to center by Sheffield.
A vicious swing of the bat by Gary Sheffield, who does that every time at the plate. And here comes Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, to talk to Rush. After that, sent into center by Sheffield. So it's 2 on, 1 out. Alex Rodriguez coming to the plate, who's 1 for 2. And And they're looking at Robinson Cano on the dugout bench. Came up a little gimpy after scoring from second on that hit by Sheffield. Don't forget, Tuesday, July 12th, baseball's greatest players gather in Detroit for one spectacular night. The 76th All-Star Game. Don't miss the biggest names as they battle for home field advantage in the World Series. Tuesday, July 12, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, in high definition, only on Fox.
And remember, this year oh no.
The last 2 years it's counted.
It certainly has. The Red Sox were certainly happy the All-Star Game last year. They got to open at home in the World Series against the Cardinals.
Read an article in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch this past week talking about home field advantage. The runners start and stop, and A-Rod pops it into right. Womack, the lead runner at second. He will tag and go to third. Throw there is cut off. First and third, 2 out. Tony La Russa in that article in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch saying that he and Dave Duncan will approach this All-Star game with that front and center in their mind. They're going to go into this game playing it to win it because they believe that last year that had as much to do with them losing to the Red Sox. You could get an argument for days on that from Boston fans and baseball fans, but having to start that World Series on the road at Fenway Park as opposed to at home because of the result of the All-Star game, as opposed to any other time that they've been in charge of an All-Star team, they are going to try and win it as opposed to just get everybody in the game. As the first pitch is high to Hideki Matsui.
I'll tell you, Joe, in this game, you can make a strong case that with Rodriguez up the last time, that A-Rod made an out because the runners broke and stopped. Worst thing to do with a power hitter like that.
Matsui takes a strike. With 2 on and 1 out, Rodriguez up.
And particularly for a right-handed hitter. A right-handed hitter can see the guy at second. He can see the guy at first. When both break and then stop, you don't know whether to swing the bat or not. And sure enough, a tentative swing by A-Rod.
It's 1 and 2 on Matsui.
Check it out. Womack at second. Sheffield at first. The fake break. Now, if you're the hitter, you're seeing all that take place. It's tough enough to pick up the ball and get a good read on it, hit it solidly. You don't need the base runners running and stopping.
Rodriguez 1 for 3. Matsui's 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored his last time. First and third, 2 out, and that barely missed. Rusch thought he was out of the inning, but it's 2 and 2. See if it was low. You can see why Rusch liked it. 2 and 2. Matsui taps it foul. Here's a potential free agent at the end of the year, Hideki Matsui. He is without a deal.
And will clearly take less to play for the Yankees because that's what he did when he came from the Tokyo Giants. $21 million for 3 years, a steal for New York.
Here's a 2-2. Matsui hits it to Perez. Ball comes up. The inning is over. The Yankees get another run. 6th inning now at Yankee Stadium. Cubs got to get it going. They trail 3-zip. This week in Major League Baseball history, June 12, 1939, the Baseball Hall of Fame was officially dedicated at Cooperstown, New York. America's beer salutes America's pastime. Budweiser, proud sponsor of Major League Baseball. More information, log on to foxsports.com on MSN, keyword baseball. Here is Jason Dubois, the DH in the number 9 spot, and he rips one into left center field. Is that going to go? Up and out. The Cubs are on the board. It's 3-1.
would have been on Waveland Avenue in Chicago. Talk about a guy apparently going up looking for a pitch to hit and not fouling it back. I mean, that ball was hammered.
Guy who's hit as many as 24 home runs in a minor league season just hit his 6th in the big leagues. And it looked like this. Coming in and going out. So it's now 3-1. Top of the order, and the count 1 ball, 1 strike on Neifi Perez. Bottom of the 6th inning, the Yankees have Posada, Williams, and Tino Martinez against Glendon Rusch. Pitchers duel to this point, 3-1. And Posada has an RBI double. He's 1 for 2. The lefty brings it and gets strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. If you're in a mood to buy a tie at some point later today, it'd be convenient because tomorrow is Father's Day.
Or a book.
Or a book. Maybe a pair of slippers. Outside, 3-1 on Posada.
It's a funny term that you haven't heard a lot of in a long time. A pair of slippers. Slippers seem to be out. No?
What do you call them?
Well,
House
I mean,
shoes?
No, just the words. Yeah, maybe house shoes. I'm not even sure house shoes is even in. Flip-flops in warm weather.
I'm not sure
Sandals.
Slippers are in.
No, I know.
Period.
Slippers, house shoes, things like that, they're not in vogue.
A leadoff walk, and right on cue, it's time for our Pepsi GoPro fan cam.
About 4.5, and I think it's going to be a player.
Diving try by Perez. Bernie Williams has a hit, and it's 2 on with nobody out. A walk, a single, and the Yankees are making noise here in the 6th inning after the Cubs just got on the board.
Good try by Perez at shortstop. Ball really well hit. Bernie's 2nd hit of the day. Nice try by Neifi. Posada has to stop at 2nd.
Bernie had some good swings last night. He seems like he's starting to come around with a bat, and he's finding his name on that lineup card more often than not these days, as Tino Martinez is playing. And here's his season. He had that stretch, 12 games where he hit 10 home runs. May 3rd through the 15th. You go back to the 17th of May, however. His last 23 games, he's hitting 127. Pryor working his way back, and right now Rich Hill, the rookie left-hander, will try to help the Cubs work their way out. Here's Pryor in that simulated effort yesterday afternoon here at Yankee Stadium. Through 4 innings and threw well. Dusty Baker had to almost conceal his smile when talking about the way Pryor is feeling and how far along the road to recovery he actually is. But here's Rich Hill, who makes his 2nd big league appearance. He's a guy who can pile up strikeouts, and that's one of the big reasons why he's in now. 2 on, nobody out, and that good curveball, which Hill features, is swung on and missed by Tino Martinez. Glendon Rusch, 5+ innings, 9 hits, a walk, 3 strikeouts, and now he has to watch the rookie trying to avoid any further damage. Fastball, a wide strike, and it's 0-2.
Good curveball coming back with the fastball. Rich Hill from Boston, 25 years old. And this past winter didn't work on strength, stretching. He worked on his mind, the mental part of the game.
And a check swing. Martinez couldn't hold up. 3 pitches and a strikeout for Hill.
The name of the book with which he subscribes is thinking body, dancing mind. And he throws a few dancing curveballs in there. He's a very intelligent young man. I talked to him before the game, Joe, and he said that's his plan. He said once you sign a professional contract, what sets you apart is your brain and not necessarily the other parts of the body. So a checkup from the neck up this winter for Rich Hill.
Another lefty, Robinson Cano, who struggled against left-handed pitching this season. And what's interesting is when he walked into the clubhouse, Carlos Zambrano, the right-hander and the starter for last night's lineup for the Cubs, said he's going to win a lot of games with us because he just looks like he's confident, which goes along with what you're saying. Right now he's 2-0 on Cano, but he's got very good stuff. And if he can come out of the bullpen here at Yankee Stadium with his team down by 2 and trying to keep it that way and get the job done, he will show something to Dusty Baker right here and now. A 2-0 pitch. 3-0. The statistics are overwhelming for Rich Hill with strikeouts to innings pitched, not only this year, but in the short time he's been in the minor leagues. He needs to throw a strike here, and he does. 3-1. Came into this season with 297 minor league strikeouts in 221 innings. Here's a 3-1. Had this to say.
Seeing the numbers on this kid, like in the minor leagues, he had like 2 strikeouts an inning. Even the other day, I mean, he gave up 3 doubles, but he struck out 2 guys, you know.
Todd Walker in on that meeting on the mound. Rich Hill comes in, strikes out Tito Martinez, walks fellow rookie Robinson Cano to load the bases for Derek Jeter. Borowski coming in. Another chance for Derek Jeter, who had one last night, to hit a grand slam. 135 career at-bats with the bases loaded. No home runs, the longest active streak. There are the guys on. Posada, Williams, Cano. And it's Joe Borowski, the former closer for the Cubs, in to try to keep Chicago in this game. Rusch started the inning. Rich Hill got 1 out, walked a man. And here's Borowski, who started the season on the DL.
Remember, Jeter with more ground balls than any other major leaguer, and the Cubs need one right now at somebody.
Not close for ball 1. Borowski has converted 44 of 54 save opportunities. The former closer. And he didn't pitch for the Cubs this year until the 20th of May. In a tight spot here, he misses low and away. 2-0.
Just thinking, even though this is not defined as a save opportunity, it's more important than a save opportunity to keep the Cubs in the game.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Jeter 0 for 3 today, takes a strike. Talked about the velocity being down for Borowski. As Dusty Baker has said, you can live in the big leagues throwing 87, 88, but it's what you do with it. It's how you change speeds. It's the spots you hit that can get you by with reduced velocity. 2-1 pitch. In the air to left center field. Back is Hollingsworth at the wall. It is his first grand slam. It took until his 136th chance with the bases loaded in his big league career to go deep. One ball, one strike on Tony Womack. One and two. Phil.
God got out.
Jeter with a slam to open it up, 7-1 here in the 6th inning. You can see from our vantage point, it looked initially like he got under it too much to get it out, and it just kept going. One ball, one strike. It has been a career filled with curtain calls for Derek Jeter. Lead Rodriguez strikes out. 6th inning history, but not before Derek Jeter, with the bases loaded, finally gets one up and out. Grand slam, 7-1 Yankees, trying to take the first 2 games of this 3-game set for the Cubs.
Viewer discretion advised.
Our day. And right on cue, Derek Jeter gets a standing O here at Yankee Stadium as these fans celebrate his first career grand slam, which came in the 6th. We thank Victor Gonzalez for putting that piece together, doing his great work as he does week in and week out, baseball, football, whatever. Jeter takes down and in ball 1. The Derek Jeter chant going on. Bartosh, a left-hander. Cliff Bartosh, who is 0-2 with an ERA of 5.3, is into the game. And Jeter hits it into right center field. Pretty well hit at the wall. That is off the top of the wall. They're calling it. And Jeter thinks it's a home run. No umpire made any signal, and now Jeter's being told the ball's in play. That ball looked like it was gone, but the second base umpire, Mike Riley, didn't make any sign, and now he does and says it's a home run.
Yeah, it looked like it hit the yeah, it looked like it hit the bar that runs right behind the right center field fence. Funny thing was Michael Barrett made a fake tag and mock tag at Derek Jeter, and he avoided it touching home plate.
No umpire made any sign as to whether that ball was in play with a safe call or with the home run call. They just stood there.
I kept looking at Mike Riley, who was in shallow center field, and that ball cleared the right center field fence. A home run is 2nd in a row by Derek Jeter.
And another curtain call after this off the yellow bar beyond the wall.
There it is.
But Riley was out there, the second base umpire, I think, hoping for help behind him because he didn't see it.
You know what, Joe? I can understand that.
I can too.
I think that either a yellow line should be put across the wall. I can understand an umpire's indecision on a ball like that. That yellow line is only a couple of feet beyond the fence. And it seems to me that it would make more sense to put a yellow line on top of the fence, because that is very difficult to call a home run because of its proximity behind the fence.
See, way back in the 2nd when we were just heaping praise on Derek Jeter, talking about all those home runs, what's he gone on to do? Hit a grand slam and follow it up with a solo shot leading off the 8th.
Pop, pop.
His 7th multiple home run game of his career, and he has 8 homers on the year. His average is over 300 now. And Jeter has made it 8-1 here in the 8th. Derek Jeter has provided the breathing room for Chien-Ming Wang today with a grand slam. Next at bat, a solo shot to right center. Jeter's doing his thing. The Yankees lead 8-1 after 8 over Chicago.